Hello, all. Welcome to this journey. We are about 10 days post diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. So, I am going to share a little bit about how things have been going these past, it's been about, like I said, 10 days or so. What has happened in those 10 days and how I'm wrapping my head around all of that stuff. When I went to the doctors, I had been I had bought a Dexcom, the Stello CGM, which is basically for like fitness enthusiasts, wellness people to kind of track their blood sugar if they're curious. I had gotten that just to kind of see where I was, and what I saw was not great. So I was a little concerned. And then my Aura Ring came out with this new thing that they offered, which was like, it was called health panels, and you pay like $99 and they would do like 50 different biomarkers. Stuff that your basic yearly blood work would be, but like also some things that you didn't get. So my CGM numbers, along with that Aura health panel, are what led me to my own doctor. So when I did the Aura panel, it came back, and I could see on my CGM that my blood sugars were not super great. My fasting was terrible, like 130, and it's supposed to be like 70 to 90 when you wake up in the morning. And it was not great. And I was getting really big spikes after every meal, and it would take forever for them to come down. So when I got the Aura panel back, I had a couple out of range markers. One was my LDL, which I have the familial hyperlipidemia, which is just a hereditary high cholesterol. But my cholesterol is below, it's 193, which is not concerning, and my HDL is great, but my LDL is always a little high. And my ApoB was a little high, which is all those kind of lipid markers. And then my A1C and my fasting glucose. My fasting was like 122 and my A1C was 6.6, which is diabetic for sure. And when I saw that, I got very concerned because I've always had high normal A1Cs. I would get it tested every year when I went to the doctor. Usually I would be 5'7", 5'8", sometimes even 5'9", but I'd never been over that before. So when I saw that number, I got a little concerned. So I had messaged my doctor on my chart, and she got right back to me and said to come in right away, which is what led me to finding this out. So I went in for that appointment, and she did another A1C in the office, and it came back 6.4, and I had one, like they were done within a week of each other, 6.4 and 6.6. So she was like, yeah, you definitely have it. This is what we're going to do. She said to me, lifestyle wise, there's really nothing else you can do. You eat well, you exercise consistently, you drink a ton of water, you meditate, blah, blah, blah. You're doing all the things. But it increases your chance by like 50, 60% of getting type 2 if you had gestational, which I had with both of my boys. With Ross, I was diet and exercise controlled, my older son. And then when I had Noah 20 years ago, I was on insulin 3 shots a day. So I knew it was a possibility. I just was hoping I'd be able to skirt it. So when she told me all of these things, it was like a lot. She came in with like bags full of stuff. She had a different CGM she wanted me to use. She came in with the Ozempic. She had all this blood work I had to get done, and referrals to ophthalmology and clinical pharmacy, and blood panels that she wanted me to get done in a couple of months. And it was a lot. It was a lot. I was very overwhelmed. And when I got into the car after the appointment, I had taken like a half day, so I was done for work for the day. I had texted my husband and my sister and my 2 best friends, and they all got back to me with varying reactions and all very supportive and wonderful. But I kind of felt like I just needed to get it out there. I just needed to say it to somebody and like have people make me feel better. Because I mean, it's new. It's something, it's like, it's a shock to the system. It's like, it's going to change up my routine, which I don't like that. It was just a lot to process all at once. A lot. So that was the very first day. And my biggest concern and my biggest fear was not having diabetes itself. Like I knew I could handle that. I was very nervous about the Ozempic for many reasons. I was nervous about it because other than antibiotics and like a 6-month stint on some anti-anxiety meds that I did not enjoy, I had terrible side effects and stopped taking that. I've never been on a medication, like a consistent medication that I would have to take routinely. I've never had that before, and I'm lucky to have that. But I was very nervous about that. The stigma around, you know, any GLP-1s right now. You cannot go on social media or, watch the news or read articles or anything and not hear about people talking about it and how they feel about, it being used for weight loss. It is a diabetes medication. It always has been. But even when I mention to people that I'm taking it for diabetes, everybody's like, why? Why are you taking that? And then I remind them, oh, it's actually a diabetes medication. And they're like, oh yeah, like everybody forgets. Like people don't even think about that anymore. It's all about the weight loss thing. I have no issue if somebody wants to do that for whatever their reason is. It's your body. You do what you want to do. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I hadn't thought much about it. But when this happened, I knew that I would get some questioning comments, or people would be curious about that because they were unaware that it was a diabetes medication. And I was anxious about the side effects big time. I know being nauseous and throwing up are like two big side effects of Ozempic, and I was not having that. So needless to say, I did a lot of research. I bought several books. I watched podcasts and watched YouTube videos and talked to ChatGPT about it, and came up with a mitigation plan basically of how I was going to make sure that that did not happen to me. I have no issue with like shots or needles. That doesn't bother me at all. I wasn't worried about it hurting or anything. I was just nervous about the side effects. I've taken 2 shots now. I did the first one last Saturday. My side effects were mostly, I felt kind of like I took cold medicine, like medicine head, kind of a little dizzy and nauseous, but like manageable. It was like in the background and it was always there, but it wasn't like messing up my day too much. So that wasn't too bad. I noticed that I didn't have much of an appetite, but I wasn't put off by food. I still ate. Like I tracked my food on MyFitnessPal to make sure I hit my protein. So I was definitely making sure I was hitting my protein, but I noticed that I was like 200-300 calories less than what I would normally eat on a regular day. I noticed it, but like I didn't want to push it either because I knew eating a bigger meal would increase my chances of being nauseous, and I did not want to be nauseous. So we just kept it to very small meals, as high protein as I could get them. It's been interesting too, because like I'm a clean plate girl. Like I don't leave stuff on my plate. Like I'm not one of those people that pushes stuff around. Like I eat all the things. So to eat these smaller meals, and it hasn't been horrible. I don't feel super hungry. And I have friends that are on GLPs, and they've mentioned this to me too, that like the reduction of the food noise was like unbelievable. And I can attest to that now. And I think about the food a lot. I always have. I knew I did. And it wasn't problematic, but it bothered me. I was just like, ugh, I need more mind space for other things. And this definitely does it. It's very interesting to feel like that. It's like I'm not going to miss a meal. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not one of those people that get so busy that they don't eat. Like that's never going to be me. But like I was always planning my next meal, my next whatever, and I don't feel the need to do that. That's weird. It's very, very quiet in my head, at least as far as that goes. And that's interesting. That's very, very interesting to me for sure. I'm still trying to figure that out, and I'll come back to that in another video, but that's an interesting one. The effect on my blood sugar was nearly immediate. It's unbelievable. My numbers still aren't super great. I mean, they're definitely not a non-diabetic person's numbers, but they're better. My fasting, I would wake up some mornings and be like 150, and now it's like 120, which is still not great, but it's better. It still spikes. I still spike after meals, but the spikes don't last as long. They're not as high. They come back down a lot quicker. So I'm definitely seeing that's good. Like the CGM, she's working out great. There she is. This one is the Libre 3 Plus, which is more like a medical grade for diabetic CGM, where the Stello, the Dexcom that I was wearing before, was, not really for that. So I've been able to kind of keep in the range that I need to, even with the spikes pretty much. My husband, he can follow along on his phone. He likes to follow along and see where mine are. If you know him, that's not surprising. My doctor also can see my blood sugars too through the app. She can see it in her office as well. So took my second Ozempic shot yesterday. Same side effects. Like I try to follow the same protocol I did. Lots of electrolytes, small meal, lots of protein. Um, just kind of just taking my time, like kind of trying to slow everything down. And I had the same stuff yesterday. So far, so good. I'm on the lowest possible dose, which is 0.25 milligrams. I think the weight loss dose is like 1 or 2 milligrams for Ozempic, and so I'm not anywhere near that. And I'll probably stay there for at least a month, and then once my doctor looks at my numbers, she can titrate it up to the next dose, which would be 0.5 if I need it. Depends on how my sugars are. My blood sugars respond over the next couple of weeks. So, I mean, overall, I think I've been feeling pretty good. My sleep has been good. I very much prioritize my sleep. I'm an early to bed, early to rise kind of gal. That hasn't changed. I try to shoot for 7 to 8 hours a night, and I'm still getting that. So it's good. I'm still waking up. I'm postmenopausal. It happens, but it's not any worse. So we'll see if that improves. It's possible that I could improve. I had the 4th week of a weight training block. So it was like the final week of this particular plan that I was in. And so this was like the heaviest lifts. And they all went very well, which is good. I didn't feel any difference in my workouts, so that's good so far. Just learning as much as I possibly can. And I've learned so much stuff. Like mine's a little interesting. The diabetes that the type 2 that I have is not like, it's not so much insulin resistance. It's called beta cell something. I have to look into that again. Beta cell. Something's wrong with my beta cells in my liver. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. My fasting insulin is actually fine. It's low normal, but I don't have like high insulin, which a lot of type 2 diabetics do. So I'm going to do a little bit more research into that basal cell situation that I apparently have. It's dysfunction, basal cell dysfunction or dysregulation or something like that, where my liver isn't just not doing what it's supposed to do, as opposed to my insulin, which is doing okay. So just learning a lot for sure. Like I feel better than I did 10 days ago. So if anybody is going through something similar, keep that in mind. I definitely feel better. Knowledge is power, the whole bit. Like the more I learn, the better I feel. And every day I figure out a little bit more, and it feels a little bit more like a new normal, I guess. There's lots of things I want to talk about, but I just wanted to give just a general update. Like this is what's happening. I did the shot. I'm wearing the CGM. This is how I'm feeling so far. So I think so far so good is what we're going to say about this first installment. I think it's going to be interesting to look back on this someday and see where I am now and then where I end up. And people have asked about the weight loss part too. I've lost 2 pounds since I started. That's only been from the first week to the second shot. I lost 2 pounds. So that could be anything though. So I'm not real worried about that right now. I'm going to keep an eye on it though, because I don't want that to get that to get away from me, because I worked really hard to build this muscle and I don't want to lose it. So I'm going to continue working hard to do that. So that's our first installment. The so far so good. Part 1's so far so good. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. And if this resonates with you, I am so glad. And if you have questions or want to know more about it, just reach out. I'm happy to talk about it, because the more I learn, the more I want to share what I'm learning. So until next time, everybody, have a great day. Have a great week. Stay well.